Alrighty, we are looking at lesson 13, bubbles 8, 9, and 10, and a little bit of 11. This is stuff that you should have done in the previous week, but if you were having trouble with it, here's your little tutorial to do it. And it's going to be very instructive for when you're creating, using CSS on your own website. So let's get to it. Over here, it says that your winter words should all have the same color and font. If you look at our winter words, we have, go away. Okay, we look at our winter words, they have the same color and font, though I didn't fix snowy yet. I'll fix that in a second. It says find the CSS rule set in the style sheet that gives the winter words their style, and then add a rule to change the font of the winter words. It can be any font, but it will need to be a different from the other 3 seasons. Different font from the other 3 seasons, and you can add any other rules that you want. So first of all, let's fix this. And this should have been fixed in your previous bubbles over here, but I'm just going to fix this snowy, and we can see that the snowy over here is not following the class of the CSS from before, and that's because I just have a little typo there. It says class with 1 S. I put the second S in there, and now the syntax is right. It works. Let's get to the CSS class, right? So in my head over here, I know the style sheet that I'm using is style.css, so I should go to that CSS file on the left over here to look and see how I'm styling this website out. So in my style sheet, I have the body, the image, H1. This is changing all of the tags. And now over here, this is where I've got the .winter means anything inside of my HTML that uses class equals winter is going to follow these styles that I'm adding over here, right? So if it's a .winter class, we made the RGB, all this stuff, which made it that like light blue wintry color. Now, if I want the font, and it'll autocorrect for you, if I want to change the font itself, I'll go font family, and I'm going to make winter has always felt kind of like fantasy and whimsical, so I'm going to make it fantasy. That's whatever. It looks good enough. And so now you can see that everything that was in that winter class before that was blue, I've made kind of fantasy-y. And that's all you need to do, right? Your style sheet tells your HTML how to change the looks of your website. So that's what we did. I went to the winter class, and everything inside of my HTML that says class winter is going to follow that style. Now notice also, by the way, that this class winter stuff are H2, H5, 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 and image. The image is not going to change. Oh, it's not even a class. Sorry. The H2s and H5s. So they're also going to be following the H2 and the H5 rules. But on top of that, it's also following the winter rules. I think I'm kind of content with winter over there. I don't want this video to be too long. But if you wanted to change this to make it a little bit, more nice looking, you could. I'm going to go to the next bubble. So we're going to go to the next bubble over here. Did this save that? Oh, it did. Wow, it updates without even me having to reload. So now we're on bubble number 9. Now that your winter class is ready, you can start for other seasons. Find the empty CSS rule set in the style sheet that gives the spring words their style and asks you to add 2 rules. One to give your text a spring color for the to give text your spring color for earlier in the lesson, and another to give the text a different font size or decoration, and add the spring class to the spring elements on the HTML page. Okay, so I'm going to go to my style.css, and we're going to click that, and we're going to zoom in a little bit. I have a spring class started up, but I don't have anything in it. So I'm going to say the color is going to be these. I'm going to do, that looks kind of springy, right? Like a neon bright green. Is there anything else? I could also do an RGB. In the previous lesson, if you have your RGB colors that you like for spring and stuff like that, feel free to use that. I'm just going to, well, you know what? I'll play around with it. I'll do RGB red. Let me see what red, green, and blue. I don't want too much red. Maybe like a little bit of red. 15 red. Green. I'll do a bunch of green. I'm gonna say 255 green. Spring is very green. And then blue, I'll do I don't know, 100 blue. We'll see. And the font family, whoops, I need to add this. I really should also be adding that over there. For CSS, you're going to need a semicolon at every single line. And then for the font family, we'll make it cursive. Why not? Okay, so we've done that, and you might be thinking, okay, awesome. You're like, you should be good to go. If I zoom out though and check my Spring, nothing changed. And that's because I defined a class in my CSS, but there's nothing inherent about a class. In my HTML, I need to go define what parts of my HTML code are the Spring class so that it knows to make those that color. So if I go to my HTML, I have a little comment here that says, oh, this is all my Spring stuff. They're H2s and they're H5s, but none of them have the class to tell them that it's Spring. So just like I had the class here in winter in the first part of my tag, I need to just put class equals, and then in quotes, Spring. And the reason it's Spring, by the way, is because in my CSS file, I defined it as .spring. So the class it's Spring, all lowercase Spring. Let's come back over here to my HTML. And if you notice, by the way, even just that one thing, it changed the Spring to be that bright green. Ooh, I'm on top of my RGB. That's a good green for Spring. And it's cursive. And so now all I need to do is just go ahead to these other lines and add class equals Spring here. And I might even do a little cheat where I'm just going to copy, Control C, Command C, whatever, Control V, whoops, come over here, paste. The issue with doing a copy and paste is if you make a mistake and then you paste it 5 times, now you have to fix that mistake 5 times. Now if we look, I added the class and the tag to each of these things. And this way, I have all of these parts of my Spring being springy, right? It's following the Spring CSS commands. Was that it for the instructions here? Because my videos tend to be pretty long here, so I just want to make sure that I'm not taking too much of your time. Add 2 rules. So I did a color and a font family. Great. And add the Spring class to the elements in the HTML page. We're good with that. Let's move on to page 10. And this says just make a new rule set for summer and then do the same thing for autumn. So we're going to go ahead. I'll do it really quickly. And we'll just do some summer, some autumn, just so you can see how it goes. So we've got our seasons. Winter and spring are done. Wait a minute. Why is rainy not working? H5 class equals spring. Let's just refresh and save and see if that does it. Okay, yeah, sometimes you just have to refresh and save. It might not even be an error. Okay, for the summer. So, summer I'm going to make is like pretty red, maybe like a orangey red. So I'll go to my style.css. I already have a summer class built in there, so I'm going to make the color for anything in there RGB, and we're going to call it red. So a lot of red. Let's do 255 red. Green and blue, maybe like a little bit of each of those. Maybe this will be orangey. For the font family for summer. Oops, I keep forgetting. Also, this should be a parentheses, semicolon at the end. For the font family, let's do... There's not too many options to choose from, right? Let's see what inherit looks like. Whatever. And now that I've defined my class in the CSS page, I need to go back to my HTML page, which again, in the head is referring to that CSS page to style it. And wherever I have my summer stuff, and I can see from the comment over here, this is my summer stuff, I just have to put in class equals equals, not equals equals, summer. And let's just check before I copy and paste to see if that's working and if the color is looking good. I don't know how I feel about that for summer. Maybe it should be a little less green, maybe. That'll do it. Let's go fix this. Style.css, let's take out some green. 50 green. Oh, wait. That's cool. I don't like that. It looks like it gives you like a preview color. How would it be more orange? Oh, maybe orange is going to be more green and less blue because it's looking kind of like purplish pinky for me. I like that for my summer. Shoot, what's autumn going to be? If summer is orange, what's autumn going to be? Because I think of autumn is orange. We'll just make this more red. So it should still be kind of orange, but a bit more red. Okay, I like that. Okay, so now we check our page. Winter's looking good. Spring's looking good. That's summer, a dark red. You know what? Let's do, in the summer, let's make it bold too. Font. Style. We're going to make it oblique. I don't know. Let's see what that does. That's not the bold that I wanted, but sure, that makes it look a little fancier. Why not? You're just playing around to figure out how CSS works so that when you come to your website, you have some information. So now all I got to do is just inside my summer thing, in the summer part, I just got to change the classes up so that it's actually referring to the summer class. So doing that, just copying and pasting all this stuff over here. Bada boom. Okay, let's check our website. Summer, looking okay. Looking not bad. And then finally we have fall, and you're just going to do the same thing again for fall. There's one last thing, and then I'll leave it to you to finish it up. In my style.css page, there is no fall class. We have body, image, h1, h2, h5, winter, spring, and summer. Well, there's also no paragraph tag here. You could always add a paragraph rule, and then you just put everything that's inside of a paragraph would follow this rule in here, right? Same thing for a class. By default, a CSS page is blank, and you have to say, hey, every single thing in the body is going to follow these rules. Every image will follow these rules. And if I don't want to go by h1 or body or paragraph or whatever, that's what your classes are for, is you can define it specifically for different parts of your website, not based on if it's a paragraph or a header or whatever. So I'm going to say dot fall, because I don't want to spell autumn. And then I will do this over here. And now I have my class set up to start doing what I want. I'd put in the color. I'd go back to the HTML. I would change all of these tags that are going to be following the fall class, just to say class equals fall, and you're good. So that is it. That's like looking at classes. That's lesson 13 bubbles 8, 9, and 10. That's how you would add classes for your CSS. And then finally, the last bubble of this is just to use that for your own personal website. And I'm not going to do that right now because on Wednesday I'm going to show just like a really, really long video of me kind of making my website look really cool and stylizing it, you know? So you would just use your classes, make a CSS page, and add that to your own personal page. Here it says to take a screenshot of your home page just so you can see what it looked like later, I guess. But, you know, just play around with CSS on your personal website to make it look cool. That's it for this tutorial. That was CS Discoveries, Lesson 13, second half.